All right, welcome back for the guy for another video on the channel right here. Going to break down a few trades for the new entire week. Hope everybody had a great previous week in the market. I know we did and my team did as well. Was able to find a few great entries on EURUSD, EuroCAD, and a few others. But I know NFP kind of probably threw a lot of people off in the previous week. If you don't know what NFP is, it is a heavy volatile fundamental that pretty much every trader watch out for. No matter what kind of trader you are, you do watch out for this heavy fundamental release. It comes out the first week, the first Friday of every single month. So it's really an easy way to kind of combat and kind of figure out how you want to deal with it each and every month, but kind of just gaining the experience as it goes along. Personally, I tell all my guys that you don't have to trade NFP. You got to understand that it does come out on a Friday. You should probably already found a lot of great entries early on in the week. So you don't have to force yourself to take any kind of trade on a Friday if you really don't want to. Personally, on NFP, I decided to stay out of it altogether because I probably already found some great entries early on in the week, okay? So NFP ultimately is up to you. Do you want to trade it or do you not want to trade it? But you got to also ask yourself, is it worth the risk, right? Should you already made decent profit, 1,500 or whatever it may be, or maybe you go off of pips, you made 20 pips or 50 pips or 100 pips already for the week. There's really no point of risking giving all that back on a Friday right before the market closes. You know what I mean? So keep that in your mind. That's also how I teach all my other students. So looking at your USD right now for the new week, we can kind of see how it is at this previous level of resistance, right? Previous level of resistance. Right now, we see price action right back at that same exact past level. Now, given off this level, you got to ask yourself, what can happen next, right? It could pull back here, right? It could pull back for this level and then shoot up to the top side. That is one direction it could take. Any given time you're looking at the market, I tell everybody, right? Look at your buy direction and also look at your sell direction and pretty much choose or look for evidence which way is leaning more towards, right? So price action does pull back here, reject at this level, that can be a great buy entry, or even pretty much kind of waiting for a pullback here to go back to the top side. That also can be another way you get into the market once you see this strong past level of around 1.0694. Once that level is broken and then pulled back, this could be another entry right around here. But for now, looking at a pullback to this previous level, right? Price action can pull back, reject right here, and then go back to the top side. Or another direction that it could take, right, would be to look at it just like this, to fall to the downside, to have that pullback, right, and then to continue to fall all the way to the downside. The same way it kind of did right here, right? Because it fell below here before, it pulled back to the same level and then it melted, right? That was the sell signal. Or even here for the buy, right? How it broke above, it pulled back, made a morning star right there, and it pushed to the top side. So the same thing, right? If it pulls back here, rejects, that's going to be our buy. Or if it falls below that level, pulls back the same way it did here, that's going to be our sell. And that's pretty much how I'm looking at your USD. Of course, we know that the DXY, the index, right, is going to play a huge part in this, right? And this is pretty much how I've been looking at it. And it has been very difficult to see which direction, or just to be patient overall to see which direction is going to go as a total, as a whole, right? So seeing this, we can see since December 16th, or excuse me, December 6th, has been at this level, right? Even before then, when it first broken below this level, the beginning of December, December 1st, right? Here, December 1st, and here, December 6th, right? So we can kind of see that price action has not been broken above that level for quite some time. And kind of the same exact thing go with this level of support, right? It's been kind of in a range, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's been somewhat difficult, especially if you are a new trader looking at Euro USD and British Pound USD, seeing all the different directions that's been taking place. If you are a day trader, you probably found some pretty much decent trades if you got in and got out. But if you are swing trading or just looking for a decent trade to get into, it's been somewhat difficult to be patient and wait for that. First, right here, we see how price action broke out of that structure, right? We can see this downward structure coming to the downtrend. Price action broke out of that and it pulled back right on top of it. And that kind of gave some bullish momentum into the DXY, into the dollar. But coming off that NFP, we see the effect that it had on the dollar, right? Coming off of that heavy previous fundamental news release, right? If we look at the previous week, we saw that we had NFP, right? And like I said, always, a lot of the time, it doesn't really matter if the news is good or bad. You can't really base off of your decision based off of bad or good data. I never look at this stuff as a way to get into the market. Like I never look at the data and say, oh yeah, it's green, I'm gonna go for a buy. It doesn't work that way, right? And the same thing go with this right here. You can see how it did come out better than expected, but that didn't really make the dollar go up in value, did it not, right? It fell in value, right? So you got to really understand that just because data comes out good don't always mean that it's good for the currency or going to make the currency go up or go down. That's why you kind of use that data to another confirmation or confluence to your decision. But ultimately, my choice to enter a trade based off of the entry will always be price action. So keep that in your mind. When you're a price action trader, you don't change your strategy. When you're a fundamental trader, you don't change your strategy, right? You do what always works for you. And through my personal experience, I do not like dealing with the news, right? Because so much back and forth, the spiking and this and that. So I just gained from over time learning that it's just not worth it, right? I can make so much money early on in the week and not trade it Friday and take that Friday off or just to see what the NFP does to the market. So really make that your decision. You can trade it or not trade it. It's not really going to make a big of a difference. At the end of the day, you save money by not risking it so much on a heavy volatile day like that. But this right here has been the DXY and it has been the dollar. So really all you're really waiting for, or what I'm waiting for, is just to see more of a clear direction. If this level of support gets broken, right, which right now it is breaking below that level, if it gets broken below that level and kind of have a pullback here or just continue to the downside, then I believe the dollar will continue to keep on doing what we've always been saying, right? Breaking below, pulling back, breaking below, pulling back, right? So just seeing that once again, that will kind of give us more of an ease of mind to some kind of see what's going to take place, right? Is it going to keep on going down to this level, which I believe it will? If that happens, then we are going to see that push on the Euro USD, as we said last time, right? Is going to continue to keep on going to the top side and have that breakout or have that pullback, right? So pulling back here, breaking out, right? Pulling back here on the breakout, pullback, and you're going for that buy, or as we said, it break below, pullback, and we're going for the sell. Also looking at another trade I'm looking at on British pound alt. This right here has been somewhat very perfect when it comes to that clean trend, right? We have the impulsive move right here, and we have the pullback to the previous level, right? A clean entry. We had another impulsive move, and then we had a pullback to the same exact previous level, another clean entry. Now look at this right here, right? Now, if we go to our daily, first of all, right, we can see that price action is at a key level of support, right? That's one thing, right? So think about the totality of the overall momentum of which it could take, right? Since this is a clear level of support, could we not expect a big push up in the market? Of course we can, right? Because it happened before, right? That can happen. Or it can break below that support, pull back to it, and that's a sell. That's why I believe trading is so easy, because like whichever direction happened or it looks more likely, you can go for that trade. You can go for that setup, go for that bias, right? I'm going for a buy. If it breaks above this level, right? I'm going for a sell if it breaks below this level. So trading can be very, very easy in that way. Now, here's a daily, now going down to the 8 hour, right? Let's remove some of these old trend line markers right here. But this is why I look at it from this perspective, because I always look for the meaningful trade, right? Because imagine if you got it for a sell right here on January 3rd, you would still be in that sell to January 9th. That's 6 days later. And that's what I mean by that. Like, I like getting in for trades like that because they simply last. You don't have to get in and get out, get in and get out, right? The 8 hour, 4 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour, they're all the same thing, right? Imagine getting in for a sell right here, December 22nd. Well, you would still be in that same trade and probably could even find more entries along the way, right? So trading is a very, very great way to just control your emotion, or if you're able to control your emotions, you can make a lot of money by just sitting on your hands and not touching anything. But looking at this right here, right, I probably want to see British pound R pull back to this level, and then that can be a way to go to the downtrend, right? So if it comes here off of the same past level, as we always see, it falls on that trend line, right? Always fall on that trend line, right? So it comes right back here and give off rejection and stay below, right? Stay below the previous level, then that's going to be a sell signal for me. I'm getting for a sell. Or, right, it could break out of that downtrend pullback, and that's going to be the buy signal, right? So if it breaks down, right, breaks below and down below this level, pull back, and that's going to be another sell here or a sell right here, right? If it stays below the trend line, the downward trend line, right? That's kind of that wall we're looking to be broken or to be respected. So when it comes to this wall, is it going to bounce off that wall and stay below it? Right, and stay below it, or is it going to break through that wall and come out and break above it, right, and go up? So either way is what I'm looking for. And like I said, that's why it's always great about trading. If it breaks above a level pullback, you know more likely you're going for a buy. Break below a level pullback, more than likely you're going for a sell. Now let's also look at British pound USD. This is another trade I'm looking at because I believe that it's going to do the same thing as Euro USD. I mean, of course, they correlate, right, against the dollar, right? So they're both basing against USD, their counter. So seeing this in the same way, I believe it could be a breakout, which it is right now, a pullback, and then that's going to be the buy, right? Or the same thing you see here, breaks below a level, pulls back to a level, and that's the sell. So same thing as we're seeing on Euro USD. We said break above a level, pull back, we know we're going for a buy. If it breaks back below a level, pull back, we know we're going for a sell. So the same exact thing, how about watching Euro USD, right? It looks exactly identical, right? We're waiting for a breakout, wait for the pullback, boom, that's our buy, right? Wait for a break below, wait for a pullback, boom, that's our sell. So it can be very, very easy and very simple getting into the trades, but because of NAP and things like that, it's always best just to wait till you're definitely sure you have a trade, right? Or you have that setup or have that pattern. You can see back here, breakout, pullback, that's the buy on the trend. Breakout, pullback, even makes a morning star, but that's the buy on the trend. And then here, break below, pullback, that's the sell. Break below, pullback, that's the sell. So always know those directions or the market structure of which taking place can be very helpful, influencing your decision of which more likely is going to happen. Same thing here, break above and it pulls back, more than likely, boom, we're going for a buy. Break below, pull back, more than likely, boom, we're going for a sell. So it's easy to kind of make that elimination process of what makes more sense to you. But this right here is another easy way that I'm looking at the market on British pound USD to just see what's going to happen. And the DSY, as we already broken down, is going to be very, very heavily influenced into that decision. Also looking at NZDCHF. This is another trade I'm looking at because I believe it's been on a breakout and now it's trying to pull back. All I need now is to see rejection, right, on British pound, excuse me, on NZDCHF. So looking at this from the 8 hour, we can see how before it was in a range, right? Going back and forth within that range, right? Ultimately finding support at this key level here, right? And then finding resistance at this key level here. Well, recently we had a break above that key level of resistance, right? And naturally, after a breakout, we look for a pullback to happen to continue to the top side, right? That's one direction we look at for that buy. Now, from here on the 8 hour, I'm going to go down to the 4 hour, right? And it's still the same exact thing. That's what I mean by time is not separate, right? Look how clean price action was at this past level of support nonstop, right? Same thing, how clean it was at past level of resistance back and forth. So here we have the breakout. We now have a pullback on the 4 hour. All I want to see is rejection here, and that's going to be my buy signal, right? This right here, it looks so clean and so perfect. And like I said before, if it falls back below the level pullback, then that's going to be our sell signal, right? The same thing that happened right here. It broke out below the previous level. It then pulled back to the previous level rejection, right? And boom, it went to the downside. But right now, we are definitely looking at that buy basis, right? Because right now, break out above the level, pull back. We need Morningstar, Bullish Engulfing, Doji, right? Anything like that to kind of get it for a buy confirmation, and boom, we make all our money to the top side. So this right here is another easy trade that I'm looking at to see what's going to happen. Definitely be patient this week. Allow the market to kind of play into your hands. Don't be super aggressive. Don't take big trades that don't really mean nothing. Just be patient and wait for exactly what you're expecting. And you always know that breakout pullback is usually 85% of the time I'm getting into my trade, right? Because that way we have a lot more confidence in the setup. So take your time this week. Make sure you're doing everything the right way. You're always looking to move correct and not to move fast, right? Take your time and really build up your account and also build up your knowledge and your experience. Like last week should have been a great experience for any new trader that's never really dealt with NFP before, knowing how it reacted to the market and what took place on different pairs of the Forex market. So everybody have a great week so far, guys. Have a great morning, and I'll see you next time, guys. See you next video.